hearing scheduled first related to a zoning change. Matt, if you'd like to present that, please. Okay. I'll explain in brief, Tim, so that everybody understands what this change is. So this change has been talked about between the planning board and the zoning board for the past few months. I'm zipping to the right part of my packet for you. What it has to deal with is certain verbiage that is in the current town code, and it is under, as soon as I find it here in my packet, it is under the policies and procedures section of our town code. Sorry about that. So it is section 200-94, that's of our zoning section of the code. And basically what it deals with is procedures that the zoning board of appeals is supposed to follow every time they have an appeal or an action that they have to deal with. The current code reads, and I'll read what the section of the paragraph that it currently says real quick. It says, at least 15 days before the date of the hearing required by law on an application or appeal to the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Secretary of said board shall transmit to the Planning Board a copy of said application or appeal, together with a copy of the notice of the aforesaid hearing, and shall request the Planning Board submit to the Zoning Board of Appeals its opinion on said application or appeal. And the Planning Board shall submit such report of advisory opinion prior to the date of said hearing. Upon failure to submit such report, the Planning Board shall be deemed not to oppose the application or appeal. So what that ended up meaning is that everything that comes before the Planning Board was being sent, everything that comes before the Zoning Board was being sent to the Planning Board. So a fence variance, a shed setback, many of the things that are really the sole action of the Zoning Board. And in addition, the Planning Board didn't really want to go on record as having their non-response be an approval of something that they don't really have any control over. So the Planning Board came up with some verbiage and went through it with the ZBA as well, or at least with Richard Muscatello, who went through it with the ZBA. So basically that section that I just read is proposed to be changed to just being the Zoning Board of Appeals may refer any application or appeal to the Planning Board, town departments, and or advisory staff to receive input. So it kind of makes it more streamlined. It doesn't waste the time of the secretary of sending everything to the planning board. And really the items that the planning board would have input on would be things that are usually coming from the planning board anyways, such as a new building height variance. That would usually come to the planning board first, and the planning board would say, well, you need to get this variance, and then they have communication with the zoning board in relation to that. So really it's a proposed change to the zoning code to kind of streamline that process and reduce the amount of paperwork and extraneous communication between the two boards. Are there any questions on that?
That your description?
Yes, sir.
All right. To open the actual public hearing, I'll read the notice that was placed in the paper and posted around the town. Notice of public hearing, Town of Wheatfield. Please take notice that the public hearing will be held at 2800 Church Road, North Tonawanda, New York, 14120, on Monday, October 15th, 2018, at 7 p.m. for the proposed change to the Town Code, as requested by the Town Planning Board, Chapter 200, Zoning, Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, Section 200-94, Zoning, Board of Appeals Procedures, Paragraph A. Anyone interested may attend and be heard. So with that, I think it opens the public hearing. And
Any comments, gentlemen?
I don't have any comment. I did think, based on my discussions with the planning board, zoning board, Tim, that, there was some difficulty, or at least confusion, where, everything was being sent from the zoning board to the planning board. The planning board was a little confused why they were getting it, and they felt a little bit overburdened in addition to their own business to have to, be pressured into making a comment to the zoning board when, as Tim said, they really didn't think they have an interest or wanted to necessarily make a comment. And then if they didn't comment, then basically the way the law is written, that it was some affirmation that they weren't in favor of the project, which is, they're not always, they didn't want to take a position at all either way. So, I think this is a minor procedural change, and from everything I've seen, it makes sense to change the shall to a may, and that way, if it's a matter that the zoning board really wants some input, then they can refer it. And if it's just minor and they don't need any input, they just go along.
And, you know, we do have variances, everything from fences to sheds to property lines, and some are more major, and obviously, and there's times where the planning board, may not respond or may not have to respond, and this kind of clears that up. Any questions from the public? Pleasure, gentlemen? Motion to approve the change, then?
Well, you'd probably just want to close the public hearing,
Okay.
and we have motions later on in our,
Okay,
in the
it's
motions packet for you, if you
It's
so
in the
choose
motion
to act.
packet, and Tim and Wendell has done a motion, a seeker motion, because there'd be
Oh,
a
okay.
negative declaration,
Gotcha.
it won't change anything.
Great.
And then the board can take action, there's a motion in the package if they wish to go ahead, if the board wants to think about it, you're not obligated to, pass a motion on it tonight.
However, it's been out there for a while, so. Okay, thank you, Tim.
Well,
Motion to close the public hearing?